Mic check. Good evening. Weird game. The Raptors lose a weird fucking game on a weird court. The first ever in-season tournament, the Raptors lose 108-105 to the Boston Celtics. The court looked weird. It looked like one half had saran wrap on it, and there was maybe some potential with like different colors, because like whatever the lights were, that seemed to like shine onto the court. So sometimes it was red, sometimes it was green, sometimes it was black. It always looked saran wrappy. Definitely had like a Le Chateau dress shirt type of glare to it, which was kind of tough. But there's a lot of storylines in here, but I thought the main thing was just I don't really understand. Scottie Barnes gets checked out of the game in the fourth quarter at 4:32 and does not come back in until 26 seconds left in a like one possession game. I understand this was like not a great game by him, but only played 32 minutes and don't really understand why that couldn't have been 35 or 36-ish. It just seemed strange to me. And then what made it even weirder was when he came back into the game with 26 seconds left, it seemed like kind of every play was like drawn up for him or ran through him. He had a really bad possession that I don't know what it was when he came in the game at 26 seconds, just a ton of dribbling. And then the inbounds play that got him a three. So it's like, I don't know, that just seems strange to me that you would have him on the bench for all that time, and then when he comes in kind of cold, he's the guy that's taking the plays. This just was really weird to me. I don't know if anybody has any opinions on that in the chat. That's, I guess, the first time this season that something Darko has done has kind of baffled me. That was kind of the first. Maybe he was hurt or whatever, but I don't know. In the moment, I just thought it was strange, and I still don't really understand why. It was sad because I thought Pascal played a really, really good game. If they would have won, you could have called this video like the Siakam tournament, even though it's kind of corny, but it still would have worked. But yeah, just down the stretch of the game, there just like wasn't that execution that you'd hope, and it was really that left corner three by Derek White that really kind of iced it. And yeah, it was right there for them. I mean, I think Scottie played really good defense, but how many times are you going to play Jason Tatum or the Celtics and have Jason Tatum go 1 for 11 from three? Jaylen Brown 23 points, Tatum 17 points. That's a pretty tame, only one player on Boston hit 20 points. It was Jaylen Brown. So this wasn't the Boston offensive explosion. They shot 34% from three, 45% from the field. And a lot of that is good Raptors defense, but it was also a lot of missed shots, and it felt like this was really a game that like the Raptors could have won. I'm not saying they should have won because it is the Celtics, but these are the games that if you're like, a competitive team, which I'm not saying that the Raptors are, you kind of look back on and go like, damn, why couldn't we have picked up one? Scottie got the bench and only back in with less than a minute. Terrible coaching. I'm fuming with the Darko. I'd be fuming with Darko in the locker room. Well, I don't think they're going to be like players fuming, but yeah, just as a as a fan, again, first time I've really gone like, what the fuck? And I had to double check the box score like twice to make sure that I saw that Precious subbed in for Scottie at 4:32, and then we didn't see him until 26 seconds left. Just like very weird. I don't know. Like, I don't know if anybody has any theories on it. I know a couple of people have talked about, I don't think this is it, but I'm just off the top of my head. His body language has been kind of weird in I thought his body language was weird this game. Like he's like they have him mic'd up and he's like positive and stuff, but on a lot of plays he's also kind of like just sticking his arms out and kind of like yelling. I'm just trying to think, like, because strategically it doesn't make any sense to have him out of the game for that long, for that period of time. Was it like an attitude, like a go sit in the corner kind of thing? Because again, he comes in at 26 seconds and both the plays that the Raptors get are like for him. So just weird. Like you don't want to bring somebody into the game cold like that. My coach did that to me in the 8th grade, infamously. I've told this story before, but you put me in the game with 6 seconds left and you want me to take a three. Ball didn't get swung to me, by the way, but the silver linings, I guess. I thought, Gary, of course, he plays with the starters, plays better. There's got to be, I think some of that is obviously players are going to play better with starters just in general, but it's got to be like a mindset different thing, which is unfortunate because I don't know how many teams he's starting on in the NBA. So like if there's that much of a gap between his play coming off the bench and starting, like but he was noticeably different. Gold Gary looked different. I thought Gary looked good in the jerseys, but it's not a jersey I could ever look good in. Maybe that's why I don't like it. And this also had the potential to be a Dennis Schroeder revenge game against his former team, the Celtics. I thought in the third quarter he just came out gunning. I think he had 5 or 6 threes tonight. I thought in the first half he was making some weird decisions and like, oh man, talking about weird decisions. I don't know. I put this on Twitter. I don't know what Gradey was doing. Like every time he saw Porzingis, he was like, all right, let's get him. Like, let's get him. Remember Kramer in the statue episode, season 2, when they're all sitting around planning on like how to get the statue back, and Kramer's just like, I say we get him. Let's go get him. And that was Grady's approach. Like every time he saw Porzingis, like I'm going to get this guy. And I think he must have got blocked, I think 3 times by Porzingis. It's like, that's the only guy that you don't do that against on that team pretty much. Maybe Al Horford, but like out of all the guys, like you're 6'8". I mean, you're kind of around the height of a lot of the Boston players, but like, I don't know. He's had I guess 5 or 6 games in a row now where he's making like noticeable. And I know that like it's super early in the season, but there's a great website. I wish they had more like stuff on there, but it's called #basketball, and it ranks rookies in a really cool like I just love the UI and UX of it, and it just like ranks them kind of on, and you can filter all these different stats and stuff, and a lot of ways that you kind of like look at the numbers. I mean, I think like out of where he went on the draft board, I think Cam Whitmore too, but I think he's only played 3 games. I think Grady's like the worst performer in relation to where he was taken. And I mean, it's 10 games or 11, no, I think maybe 12 games into the season. So whatever. But I mean, it is, obviously you'd wish for something not like that, but that's what it is. I thought Peyton, like the starters on Boston, I was looking at like, they were all like in the minuses for most of this game. It was really the bench. Like when I checked at the start of the fourth quarter, the 2 highest plus minus on the team were Hauser and Pritchard. They were plus 13 and plus 12. And I think they took the black court personally because, I mean, they were just gunning. I mean, Sam Hauser, just that shot, it's got like the perfect arc on it. He just like, I don't know if anybody shoots higher than him in the league. Maybe somebody will know in the chat. Somebody tell me if somebody else in the league has like a higher arc on their shot, because his shot just like, I think they lose it on like it goes out of frame on on the broadcast. Yeah, I thought that they came in. I thought the Boston bench came in and were really good because again, yeah, you had a game from Tatum and Brown where, I mean, Brown was like better, but I mean Tatum 1 for 11. I mean, if you can't beat the Celtics when Tatum goes 1 for 11 from 3. And again, like I think that if Scottie is in the game a little bit more down the stretch, I mean, they lost by 3 points. It was, I don't know. That's such a weird one for me. I'm not a big like coach person, like commenting on coach things. This is kind of the first one I've really noticed where I was like, where is he? Like, why is this is a very tight game? And You got Precious on, who's not playing badly, but you're putting Precious in these minutes over Scottie. I mean, okay. Dick got beef with Chris. Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like I'm gonna watch this game again. But yeah, it seemed like they had some kind of like, was there any altercation between the two of them? Because there was really no other explanation for it. Like, Grady would get the switch, or I don't even know if it was on purpose, but like, I don't know how many times he had Porzingis on him. And if you're a smaller guy and you have a taller guy on you, like, usually you try to dance a little bit and get like a three or a mid range off. I'm not saying that Grady is, I guess he is pretty confident, but it just seemed like every time he was like, no, I'm going to take it at this guy, like at the rim. And I don't know, like, I don't think that's Grady's strong suit, like finishing over big guys through contact. Like, this just seems like a lack of awareness. And Jack kind of mentioned it, like he's trying to do too much. And I think that's kind of what his story has been the last few games, where it's like, obviously he knows he's struggling. His shot isn't falling. I think he's shooting like 22% from three or something on the season. Raptors report put out a funny tweet saying, Grady, they say that Grady does all these other things other than shooting, but the shooting is kind of the thing that I want. And yeah, like his shot too is missing in a lot of like they're not all similar. And Will's talked about this in shoot around. He's noticed that like there's a lot of variance on his misses. They're like left and right, far and close. Like they're not. So that is something definitely to watch. But yeah, so like 5 or 6 games in a row where it seems like he's like trying to do too much, tried to take Porzingis like off the dribble and drive him. And I mean, when you're struggling in sports, like it's natural to try to overcompensate. And it feels like earlier in the year, he was just more swinging the ball, cutting, offensive rebounds, like focusing on that. And now it feels like he's trying to do a little bit. I mean, taking Porzingis, I think it was 3 times to the rim, which was just wild. Gary is a Pascal merchant. Yeah, I've talked about this before, where I think like one of the more underrated in a team with like no half court chemistry, a really underrated duo is Gary and Pascal. And I don't know what their like numbers are this season, but just, I'm not a really big like numbers person, but just going through games and rewatching them and trying to make Raptor Moments episodes and videos and stuff, like I definitely have noticed that they feed off of each other really well. It makes sense too, because like Pascal's a good mid-range shooter, Gary's a good three-point shooter. So if Gary sets up in the mid-range, or if Gary sets up in the three-point area and Pascal's in the mid-range, and they're feeding each other, and like defenses have a hard time with that. So I don't know if that's like a merchant, but because I think it goes both ways. Like I think like nobody really on this team can shoot. So I think for Pascal, it's probably a cool thing too to have somebody that can shoot, because defenses have to, close out to him like pretty viciously. Whereas with Dennis, they're not doing that. With Malachi, they're not doing that. With Gradey, kind of, but like not like with Gary and OG. Those are the two that like teams are really, they have that written down in their notes. Like you gotta be aggressive with those guys on the 3-point line. And so yeah, the Gary fit on this team is also weird, because obviously he plays so much better with the starters. But I mean, the roster is just, it's just weird. And it's like, I still don't think there's no real like closing big. It's like they had Precious on, like Precious came in for Scottie at 4:32, and then I think Jakob came on for Precious with like 45 seconds, which was also kind of weird. Like, I don't know. I just think from my community and high school level of sports, when you're in a game like this, where it's a tight game and it's a comeback, you kind of want to like at the end of the game, like ride the same guys. Like and Darko made these weird substitutions where you're bringing Scottie in with 26 seconds left. You're bringing Jakob in with like a minute. You're just kind of throwing them into the game at that point, and they're just not in the flow of things. And so much of sports is just being in the flow, like being within the game. And it's yeah, that was weird. I thought he had a weird game, Darko, but I'm not a big coach, barely coach. I was gonna apply to be a coach, like a high school team, maybe one day. Calmly, the game was over once I saw Dennis Schroeder leading us in scoring. Yeah, did he end up leading the Him and Pascal both with 23. But yeah, Dennis, 5 from 11 from 3. Some of those were pretty. There was one where it was a heat check, but on top of that, I think it was like 3 minutes left. He did like a shot. He did a 3 that just wasn't his mechanics at all. It was like kind of a shot you would take just kind of messing around in the gym. I don't know if people remember this. It's like in my brain. It was on the left side, kind of like I always call it like the LeBron spot on the floor. Like, you know what I mean? Like if it's a clock, like between like 7 and 8 o'clock, if you're looking at the rim. I feel like it was from there, and he just kind of did this like he didn't hold his follow through. It was just felt like more of like a trick shot, and it was like a really important part of the game. And he had made his previous 2 threes, I think, but yeah, a couple like he was good. He was pretty good. He was good from 3, 5 from 11. You can't complain about that. But a few of them were a bit like kind of horse shots, a little bit. Like they just like you got to remember time and score and context within the game. Like getting hot is cool, but yeah, I thought in the first half it was pretty rough. Like I don't think he played that well in the first half. Schroeder has definitely regressed to the mean, which I always kind of thought would happen. Obviously he wasn't going to keep that startup that he had at the start of the year, or else he could have got honestly, like if Dennis Schroeder would have kept up his play from the start of the year, the whole season, like he would be a most improved candidate. Like it just wasn't, I don't think, going to happen. So I didn't think he played that bad though. I mean, good, definitely need 3-point shooting. Nameless, I'm sick of the ref manipulation. Have you seen any other All-NBA? Yeah, I mean, Matt Devlin, I mean, they talk about this on the broadcast all the time, so I don't really feel like I need to get into it too much. I just ignore the whole referee thing because it's like too scary for me to look at. It's kind of like if someone's like really traumatized and they don't want to like go there in therapy. Not saying that's a good thing. Not saying that that's me, but it's kind of one of those things where like I know about Tim Donaghy, I know about the 132 phone calls with him and Scott Foster. I don't know. The calls against Pascal tonight were really bad. The third and fourth foul were the fourth foul was just stupid. It was just him like nudging Jaylen Brown, kind of running. They said maybe it was a moving screen. I don't know. And then Darko challenged the third foul, which I also thought was soft and didn't win the challenge. I thought Darko in the gold jacket kind of looked like somebody who's sent to kill Austin Powers, but like not the main guy, like one of the side guys that just kind of shows up. Underrated movies, by the way, I think. Like they got the attention, like they're famous enough, but I feel like they're like critically quite good. Wow. I also am not a big black. I don't think I've ever owned a black and gold. I could not wear a black and gold outfit out. So like I would be like, I would just like, it's just not me. I cannot wear like a shiny black and gold. I would just walk into like moving traffic, I think. Ring Papa. Scottie was waiting to check in for like 4 minutes. I mean, yeah, I feel like I noticed him around a minute mark. And again, they ran out of timeouts too at the end. They didn't have time to advance the ball there. So maybe he was trying to get him in earlier, but I mean, there's got to be, you can, you can always get somebody to commit a foul or kick the ball into the upper decks. I'm gonna butcher your name, Ryujin Ryu. The worst thing about Precious was on the court and Scottie on the bench. Yeah, it's mentioned that before. I can't really think of a situation where that makes sense. I mean, like, unless Precious is like crazy cooking, it just, I don't know. I lost money on this. Now I'm pissed. Well, that's not good. That's why I don't gamble. I would expect to lose everything I bet on. Van Hoot, I came to say I'm concerned about our coach. In what context? Hermes Curry, bro. He was kind of fading, right? Dennis dribbling around for 15 seconds instead of giving the ball to Pascal on the post was brutal. Yeah, Dennis, the one complaint you will hear from people who talk about the NBA and stuff is Dennis does like to dribble, and there was definitely times in this game where I think the .5 offense thing is kind of like it's never like a system in and of itself, I don't think, but it seems to slowly be like not, because, and I don't know, like with the way I think that's more how the team is built. Like, they're kind of at a point where in a lot of games, like the Pascal ISOs like are the better, they are the better thing. So, but yeah, you've got Dennis dribbling a lot, Pascal ISOs. I'm not saying those are like necessarily bad things, but I think it's really tough for, like, if you kind of envision .5 offense being like, mid 2000s Phoenix Suns or 2010 San Antonio Spurs or the Warriors or whatever, like all those teams were loaded with great shooters, like loaded. The Suns loaded, Leandro Barbosa, Steve Nash, like kind of a good shooter. Sean Marion, crazy form, but a good shooter. A couple of Jacksons. There was more than one Jackson. I'm forgetting a bunch. Didn't they have I'm gonna blank out. But yeah, I mean, then on the Spurs, Danny Green and Boris Diaw wasn't really a shooter. Bruce Brown, Kawhi-ish, all these teams. I'm just gonna start listing rosters from different. But yeah, it's tough to do the .5 offense thing or to eat off of that when you're not, hitting shots. I think the Raptors are 28th in the league in 3-point shooting. Mile High. I can't wait till OG, Pascal, unfortunately Gary, all the old men on the bench are gone. Does roster construction terrible, 0 shooters, no guards. The only thing keeping losing fans sane is the Clippers sucking. Darko coaching was sus. Yeah, background is dope tonight. Yeah, I'm in Times Square tonight. Flew to New York for some reason for this game. Just wanted to be, when I was in New York last time, I stayed right in Times Square, right above the old David Letterman studio. So just wanted to feel the vibe here. We got Marriott Marquise Noel behind us. Might go see Chicago after. I think I still have my playbill, they're called, from 2005. Bought a System of a Down CD back at the Virgin Music Store that used to be here back in 2005. Very good album to listen to if you're in band and you're on a trip and you're driving from New Jersey to Manhattan like 4 times a day and through all the industrial shit. Or I guess twice a day, not 4 times a day. Okay. Aaron Newham only caught the second half, but it was fun to watch. Celtics are a tough team to beat. I mean, I guess at least it was an entertaining watch. The Celtics talked about this last time that the Raptors played the Celtics, but the Celtics are kind of the antithesis of the Raptors. They were like, no, we're going to build a team like the normal way with like a point guard, some shooters, couple of centers, some wings. We're gonna, try to play good defense and good offense. Whereas the Raptors are like, I think 8th in defense and like 28th in offense and 30th in half-court offense. Raptors don't value shooting. Raptors don't value dribbling. And you can say what you want about the coaching, and yeah, putting in Scottie would probably have been, still don't understand why, and that could have probably shifted the game. But yeah, I mean, the bottom line is like the team, again, has there been a game yet where Scottie and Pascal have like both played well together? Like, I can't really remember one. I mean, I'm not saying they both have to be amazing every night, but I can't think of a single game where they were both like really on. And beyond the kind of like, I guess talk about that a bit. That's a pretty interesting talking point, I guess, or relevant talking point. Because like I didn't think Scottie was like great tonight, but still think he should have been in the game. And then Pascal was obviously very good. Obviously, they play the same position-ish. I mean, Scottie's definitely more of a handler, more of a playmaker, but they're technically like a 4. They like to shoot kind of from the same, areas on the floor. They like to back guys down that are smaller than them and take them into the post and do footwork around them. They like the mid-range. They like to run. They like to be in transition. Like, I mean, that's part of the reason why there's so much kind of trade buzz around Siakam, is because it's like there's a lot of overlap in those two players. And not to say that you can never make that work, but you can't really point to even a preseason, I don't think, game or a regular season game, which if you combine those two, I guess is like 16 games. In the first 16, I haven't seen them both be like really on. And I don't know, maybe with how the team is constructed, it's just not feasible. But that's definitely probably, if you zoom out on this season so far, that's probably the biggest storyline. I guess Scottie's leap is probably the biggest storyline, but kind of right after that is like, how do these two fit into the team? And it's just been, weird. And I think everybody kind of knows that. I don't think that's like a hot take. I don't think that's I don't think they'd ever say that on TSN. But I think everybody kind of knows it, that, yeah, I mean, it's like somebody mentioned Gary's a Pascal merchant. Like, I wish Scottie and Pascal had that chemistry, but they just don't. Like, if you look at who they individually have chemistry with, like I think Scottie and Jakob have good chemistry. They're both really good passers. They're both really good passers in the low post. They're both pass-ish first players. So they work out well off each other. You look at Gary and Pascal. Gary, really good three-point shooter. Pascal, a good mid-range shooter. They work well off each other. I think OG and Pascal, there's so much familiarity. They've been playing with each other the longest kind of out of all the main players. They don't have amazing chemistry, but like they make it work. Whereas with Scottie and Pascal, there's just like, again, I don't have the numbers. I'm not a numbers person per se. Maybe one day I will be more of a numbers person, but just in my brain going through videos and watching games twice and thinking about storylines and videos to edit and episodes to make and moments to capture, like off the top of my, I can't think of any Pascal Scottie moments, like times that they, even like last game, I thought this was a perfect kind of, and even today actually with the inbounds pass, like the Pascal inbounds pass to Scottie, I know they were going for a 3 at that time, for a corner 3, but even that pass was just like a bit off and a bit weird. Again, I don't know if this was Coach Darko. Do you have Pascal inbounding the ball in that play? Is Pascal a good passer? I don't know if he's a horrible passer, but when the game's on the line, is he the guy passing the ball? I don't know. Is Scottie taking the technical free throws? I don't know. Like, there is some weird shit going on. Also, I didn't notice this before, but Scottie stands in the weirdest spot when he's taking a free throw. Has anybody else noticed this? I was like going to make a video about it. It's like, it's in my maybe bucket of videos to do, because he stands like to the left or to the right. If he's facing, he's like standing to, it's really weird. I just noticed it last game and I went, holy fuck, like how have I never noticed that before? And it was funny because the shot I noticed it on, he missed like to the whatever side he was on. But anyways, my long story short, yeah, I mean the two of them just they don't have that they don't have that I'm trying to, like, you think of like, Stockton, Malone, Peyton, Kemp, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, like those are kind of extreme examples of a person setting a play up and a person finishing. And I'm trying to picture like creatively how they would link up and be a really scary duo, like on offense. On defense, I think they play really well together. They're both kind of same kind of defensive archetype in a lot of ways, but like with Pascal being less athletic. less yoga-ish. I can't think of, like, I can't picture them doing like pick and roll stuff and finding each other for lobs and creating stuff out of that. I don't really see them staggered like Gary and Pascal do, with Pascal in the mid range and Gary at the 3-point line. I don't really see that. Pascal kind of does that with OG as well. Like, I don't really see that happening. They hook up in transition, but again, that's like 12 to 14% of possessions in a game. Like, you can't really eat off of that too much. It's more of a bonus, but yeah, that's kind of the big question, you know? And if you're I mean, glass half full is at least you have the asset. Like, at least you have Pascal to trade if that's going to be the path, which it kind of seems like it. Like, at least you know, it would be different if you didn't have that at all and you just had a team with like nothing, you know, if you're like the Wizards or something. Pascal's still a really tradable contract. So, but you know, in a game like today, you could also just in a vacuum, you're an alien and you just watch the game today and you're like, hey, they're going to trade this guy. You'd be like, what the fuck? Like, that's insane. So it's a very weird situation, and management has kind of, you know, when you procrastinate and put things off, sure, you get freedom or whatever to assess things, but you also probably back yourself into a corner more than you might have to. MSJ, we nearly won a game versus the best team in the NBA without OG. Tony Brothers F the game up, taking Pascal off the court for an entire quarter. Pascal and Scottie chemistry was Tatum and Brown 3 years back. I mean, okay, I don't really necessarily agree with that, but I think that is a very interesting point where, like, on one hand, idiots like me on a podcast can talk about Pascal and Scottie's lack of chemistry, but who else is surrounding them? Like, who else is the talent around those pieces? Who are good shooters? OG, Gary, like, so they're not necessarily working with a ton. So that I'm not saying I necessarily agree with that point, but I think that is an important point. I mean, it doesn't matter what I agree with it. I have no inside information or anything, but you know, that is a counterpoint, obviously, that I think you do have to entertain, which is maybe why the front office is so split, because you have these, you know, divergent ideas. And yeah, one of those theories is like, you can say that Scottie and Pascal don't have this chemistry, that you have your two kind of best players and they overlap, but what if you put shooters around them? We've never seen that before. We've never known that before. The organization doesn't really value it. So the Tatum Brown thing is kind of an interesting. I mean, the only thing I would say to that is Pascal's a lot older, and I don't think there's as much kind of raw talent ability. I remember watching the Celtics like 2017 on that run with like Terry Rozier and Marcus Morris. Like, so yeah, but I think that's the situationalness, if that's the word, of it. I think that is an important point to bring up too, that you've also not really surrounded them with pieces that fit. Like Jakob, for example, does not fit with Scottie and Pascal. It just doesn't. Like, you know, someone like Porzingis would. That's like the perfect fit. I know people. There were. I think Toronto was interested in Porzingis. I feel like a while back, maybe. I mean, they're definitely interested in Ayton, which, I mean, even if you're not a big Ayton fan, makes a lot more sense than Jakob. Just in terms of like running the floor, can shoot from the mid range. He's not going to shoot threes, but it's just more athletic, faster, can play pace. Like, so I don't know. Watching the Suns game right now and everybody's slipping on these new courts from Aaron Newham. Yeah, I mean, Brown slipped there at the end. It looked like a thing you would slip on. It's not. I was like as I was watching the game, like it just looks like there was glare off of it, but then it kind of looked I don't know what the word is, but like when something has like dust on it, it just looked like something you would slip on. The Raptors, like I don't know, yeah, and I've seen that and been hearing that people have been slipping. Um, so they're obviously gonna have to they're gonna have to fix that because my whole thing is like if somebody gets injured in the game that doesn't count for anything, that's gonna be like that will be the ultimate deterrent. Zach LaVine will save this team mile high. Okay, okay. Every time, this is what pisses me off. As a non-Toronto person, every time there's a trade rumor coming up about Donovan Mitchell or Damian Lillard or now Zach LaVine, Raptor fans in general are just so quickly to be like, fuck no, he doesn't fit. It's fit into what? The 30th best half-court offense? I don't know. So, like, I don't have any, like, hot takes on a Zach LaVine trade, but he's a Seattle guy. And I like, what do you want him to fit into? What oh no, he shoots well and doesn't play very good defense. Wow, that sounds like I don't understand this. They're trying to get like every OG Anunoby or something in the league, or every like there's still I think the fans have bought into the 6'9" thing so much that when anytime a player who's like not 6'9" gets brought up, it's like, well, I don't really know how he fits. Good. You know who does fit? Jalen McDaniels fits perfectly with this roster. How's that going? Next question. Devin Smith. I don't think I've ever seen Pritchard or White miss a shot. Imagine we had those two. Pritchard definitely missed some shots tonight. Pritchard was kind of stinking up the joint from three. I felt like he took. What did Pritchard shoot tonight? Before I talk out of my ass, Pritchard 1 for 5 from three. Pritchard. So I don't know what you're talking about. But again, him and Hauser were leading the plus. Him and Hauser led plus minus for the Celtics. Him and Hauser were plus 20. And the starters in the Celtics were -4, +2, 0, -1, +2. So yeah, they took the backcourt personally. These are Boston. That's my Boston racism joke. Josh Lewenberg says Darko regrets not letting Barnes back in the game earlier to close. That's on me. I'm going to own that one. Okay, so no weird. I thought maybe there was an injury or you're grounded type of situation, but I guess he forgot Scottie existed or something. So that's, yeah, I mean, I guess good for him for taking ownership of that. Because, yeah, that was fucking stupid.
What are you, fucking stupid? What the fuck? The kid played fucking 32 minutes in the fucking game and you fucking take him out 432 in the fucking fourth quarter. You put Precious in? What the fuck? What are you, fucking stupid?
Sorry about that. Precious and Pirtle are the Popcorn Brothers. I don't know what that means, but that sounds about right. Then a lot of people in the chat just talking about, like, they have usernames like 6 with an IX, which I've never seen before. That's really cool. And saying about how they would fix their roster. So I don't really need to read all those. Aaron Newham. Pritchard was chucking him up. We waived Hauser? No way. No way, that's true. You got to be bullshitting me. I know we waived Drew Eubanks after 4 minutes, which, yeah, I mean, of course, why the Phoenix Suns like lost picks tampering to get him, but the Raptors, who would just have this abundance of amazing centers, cut Drew Eubanks. It was like 25 minutes. He didn't even I don't think he even got into the, like, he probably didn't even see the thing go out before he was waived. Like, he probably didn't, like, I don't think for a moment of his life he was like, I'm a Toronto Raptor. That's a weird one to me. But if we waive Sam Hauser, I guess his shot was too good. He doesn't fit. Just like what all the anti-Levine people are saying. He doesn't fit on the team. He goes out and scores 51 points and doesn't play defense. He doesn't fit. I want more Jalen McDaniels. I want Justice Winslow. I want DJ Wilson. I want Stanley Johnson. Those guys fucking fit. Bring me more of those guys. I don't want Zach LaVine. 51 points. Fuck you. Get out of here. Thoughts on okay. Thank you for bringing this up. I almost forgot. Andrew, thoughts on Drake absolutely obliterated on the mic during the fourth quarter run. Yeah, I mean, do that like in the start of the third quarter, not down the stretch of the game. Um, I know a total of 3 Drake songs, but I do think it's cool that he was wearing like knee pads. I guess it looked like. I thought that was interesting. Shouts to Fat Joe was almost the the thumbnail for this video. Uh, you gotta love Fat Joe sitting there, just more comfortable in his own skin than Drake is, clearly. And yeah, I thought he was uh like there was one call where Jack was like, he's dialed in, Matty D, and Drake's like 1-800 dialed in, ha ha ha. And it's like, oh boy, I'm gonna need more weed. Yeah, I don't know. People like his voice, I guess. Maybe I dreamed it. I could have sworn he was either a 10-day or a 905. I hope not. I'm going to look that up after. Because that's depressing. I noticed, I wrote down, I don't know, man. Like, Delano to me just seems so unserious. Like, he's not getting, there was a few times where I almost made a Delano video, but I was like, it's not that interesting. Where like, there were games last season where he would get like 4 turnovers in like a minute, and then he would just be on the bench, just like not like hyping his team up in a way, but like just like he got to a party or something, and he was doing that like tonight. It's like, you're not even, I don't know. As a community basketball player, if I wasn't in the game, I was like pissed. Not pissed, but like, actually, don't use me as an example. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I just thought it was funny during a few of the huddles. He still had that like very jokey, very loose energy. Him and O'Shea Brissett were laughing it up quite a bit. Not playing any minutes. Okay, Andrew. Okay, good. Okay, I will. Drake. Okay, I do want to rescind what. Yeah, Andrew says Drake did say Pritchard looked like a crypto scammer, but it was downhill from there. That was a great line, but it's important to acknowledge how far it went downhill from there. And because that was like the first thing he said, he had that in his back pocket. Like probably in the first quarter, he thought that up, and maybe he saw it online or something. But like, he came onto the mic and dropped that immediately, and then yeah, as you said, all downhill from there. I think after that, like that was his one prepared thing. I think he was riffing because he's like, I haven't been here since 1998. This isn't Nick Nurse. We got Peyton Pritchard's out here like a crypto scammer. That was great. That was a great like 10-second observational humor, but he must have had that cooking because the rest of it was like, he's dialed in, dial 1-800 da 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 1-800 dial. What were some other one? He had some just really, I don't know, really bad. It's like stuff any comedian would get booed off the stage for, but because it's Drake, it's like, oh wow, it's cool, But yeah, that's. I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. Does anybody else have any? Yeah, Schroeder almost gets the revenge game against his old team. We almost got the Siakam tournament. Wow, that's even worse than Drake. Good thing that didn't happen. Gold Gary. I mean, yeah, I think that's probably gonna do it. I would have been making horrible jokes in this game too. It was a close game though. I had hope for this game. Actually, like if this one again, fuck man. Okay, I'm gonna actually try to look this up because the Raptors scored like 4 points in the second quarter again. Every second quarter they just like suck, and that was the Hauser minutes for a lot of it. And I wrote down second quarter, Malachi impressive. Okay, time to pack it up pretty soon here. turning into Alvin. Malachi and Precious playing together should be illegal. Just butchered that. Because when they have to play together, like, just note that in the back of your head. Just anytime that, like, Malachi and Precious have to do any kind of screening or any kind of passing or high-low, where Malachi is low and Precious is high, they're both low. It's just both. It's just low. It's just low percentage. Maybe I look at the box score before we say goodnight or whatever. Anything stick out to anybody on the box score? I mean, not really. I mean, only 13 turnovers for the Raptors. That's nice. Like, they took care of. Jakob had 3 of them, so that's not good. I thought he fumbled the ball a bunch. Yeah, that's the second. That, I guess, after the Siakam Scottie thing, that's kind of the other big question, I guess, is. But I feel like we talk about this after every game, so I don't really want to get too into it. But again, Jakob Hurtle, just in a team that doesn't have shooting and relies on speed, continues to be just a bit of an odd fit. Also, I keep hearing about Garrett Temple winning these 3-point competitions in practice. Can we get him into a game at some point? I just kind of want to see him. McDaniels keeps getting these chances, which he's not really doing a ton with. So that continues to be, I don't know. I like threes. I enjoy watching players like Zach LaVine. I'm sorry, I like watching guard play. That's why I kind of say, watching wise, the Raptors are not like the greatest entertainment product, I think, for me at least. I guess, but it's funny, like, even Masai and like, the funniest thing to me is Masai being like, I did not enjoy watching this team. And it's like, well, you built it. What, like, everybody else in the world seems to look at this roster and kind of come to the same conclusion of this makes no sense. So, like, I wish someone would have asked, not saying they would have got a good answer, but just a really simple, like, what did you expect from this roster? Like, what did you expect to work with this roster? You didn't enjoy watching it. You designed it. It's like you design a house and you're like, this sucks. I don't like that there's, like, triangle windows, and I don't like that the stairs are steep and spiraled. It's like, well, you designed it. You were given a budget and you designed it. Now you're living in it. Now we're all living in it. But they almost beat one of the best teams in the league without OG Anunoby. Jason Tatum goes 1 for 11 from 3. Nobody on the Celtics scores more than 20 points except for Jaylen Brown with 23. So this is a weird game. First in season tournament game. Not off to a good start. I joked that I would, like, die jumping off of a balcony if the Raptors won the in-season tournament. So it's good news if you want me to stay alive, I guess. It's the silver lining. So Stevie says, Subway sucks, brother. You made the sandwich. I don't like Subway. For me, it's always been Subway, not a sponsor of this program. The smell for me has always been weird. Even when I was a kid, I remember going in there like 5-6 years old and just being like, the smell is, I think it's like the nitrates, or like, it just every Subway I've ever gone into, it's just like, can we open up a window or a door? Like, we need air in here. Like, it just feels like I'm trapped inside a Tupperware container and the ingredients have been here for too long. That's my Subway. Because I'm not a big sandwich person, I guess. Wow. What happened to Quiznos? Quiznos was better. Was there ever a Quiznos in Toronto? Is that a thing? I feel like Quiznos is really... Also, do you guys remember Randy River. I was just thinking about all the legacy things that like we've lost, like Randy River, Saan. Do people remember? Was that a thing in Toronto? Saan, Saan. Fields, was that ever a thing? Le Chateau, these kind of long lost things that brought communities together. There's a really good video about Quiznos and why it like failed. They like made all the individual like Quiznos owners like buy produce from this like internal company or something, and the internal company sucked, and then they kind of got screwed and the prices went up or something, and then I don't know, but the company got greedy apparently and it got fucked up, and then so Quiznos is like, yeah, is Quiznos even still happening? Tell me about that. Randy River, the clothing store, yeah. You'd go in there and it'd be like $12 hoodies, and they'd be like what Malachi used to wear a couple years ago. Just like a white with like a gray checkery kind of plaid-y, kind of like this almost, I guess. And they would have there'd be like fuzzy fur, and they'd be like $12. It'd be really thick, really, really uncomfortable. Just like a really shitty like Mark's Work Warehouse, like a really, really shitty version of that. It was Randy River, but it went out of business, I think. But I don't know why. I was just thinking about that recently. It's just like some of these legacy. Because Zelda's is back. Haven't been inside, but what do you guys think of the black and gold? It reminds me of like Affliction, Ed Hardy, like the Wynn Hotel at Las Vegas, limousines. I don't know. This just, people already to say that I look Persian, and if I ever got decked out in like OVO gear, I would just be like, it would just be too much. There would just be too much. It would be like me trying to present like a false identity. I think like people would be like offering me tea, and it would, be like trying to give me cats and stuff. That would be cool actually, but wow, we're really getting off track. More hard-hitting analysis of Canadian businesses we remember from childhood, please, from Jive Pimp. I think saan is what I rocked with the most. There was a saan in my small town. I basically grew up in like a Whitby replica. So we had a saan, and we had a Fields as well, but saan was more like you could get shoes there. I feel like Fields, you get like cotton balls and like pens. Really remember. I do miss Le Chateau. Gary Trent Jr. went on to the Raptors show today and was grading or talking about Will's fits, and he called Will's. So after this, I don't know if I can ever trust Gary Trent on fashion, because he called Will's, I swear it's a Le Chateau dress shirt, because of the way it bulges. If anybody was like around in the 2000s and ever had a Le Chateau, I think 100% of my high school went to Le Chateau for like grad and high school events. And they would be like they were really cheap. They'd be like $20-$25. You can't complain, like for a shirt, maybe even less than like $17.99. But they would just slide around and slip around and ball up and bunch up. And you can see the bunch up in Will's shirt. And it's clearly, I would be willing to bet, me and Will are only a year off, I'd be willing to bet like $1 million that it's a Le Chateau shirt. But Gary called it a polo. I don't know how you can be like a quote unquote fashion person and call the Le Chateau dress shirt a polo. I don't know. I literally like tapped out and lost consciousness after that. Anybody else rock with Le Chateau? 8 years, quality experience, 8 years of the same OVO jersey. So honestly, this is one of the videos I really regret not making, and I could start like I write scripts and then I just kind of get bored, or I move on to other things, or a game happens and I go whatever. But back in I think it was 2018, they did the first like chevron jersey, was a Nike thing, and I kind of went in deep on like Nike's influence on the jerseys, and even Nike's partnership with Drake's brand or whatever. And yeah, I agree. Like I don't as someone not from Toronto, I don't understand the whole Raptors, Drake, OVO the 6. Like, I don't fucking have no idea. So, like, we don't worship people in Vancouver like that. I mean, it's just different. It's a different culture. Like, we don't put people up like that. We're just serial killers and depressed, drink a lot of coffee. But yeah, I don't get it. Like, I don't get the gold, black, and the owl. Like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? I don't even. I'll admit, like, I know 7 new rappers since 2010. Aaron Newham, I didn't mind it when they first started using black and gold, but I'm tired of it now. Yeah, it's like, it would be okay if it was like a one-off. There was one version of it where I was like, that's not too bad. I think it was when it was more black and just a little bit of gold. But yeah, there's been so many of them now. I thought the one last year was like the worst, where it just said Toronto and it was black and gold with Toronto. But it's Nike, man. Nike's like a huge culprit in this. Not a sponsor of the show, Nike. They're just churning out these fucking jerseys. And I don't know if it's me being biased, but I just love the like 80s, 90s, and early 2000s jerseys. And then in my opinion, they just started going to shit. Probably like I feel like they started going to shit in like 2007, 2008 is when the jerseys really, like when I was in like grad in high school. Right around that time, when the Sonics left, they started really going to shit. And then I think Nike started getting really involved in like 2014. And I remember I was in a graphic design program in 2015, back when everything was like minimal, clean design. And then that really took over. And I think it was like, the funniest one was like the Thunder one year, I think, was just like, if everybody remembers that, just like white and gray. It was just like, oh my God. And the whole like clean, minimal design thing started to get transferred onto jerseys. And maybe a couple of them looked okay. Maybe like the Nets one with like the B that was the same as like the subway station was kind of cool. But like, for the most part, I hated it. I like the big, loud, like I love the old Pistons, like the 90s, 2000s Pistons, like with the teal and, oh man, it's so fucking cool. The old Raptors one with the Dino, obviously. The old Vancouver Grizzlies one. The only thing that gives me solace as someone who's still bitter about the Memphis Grizzlies is just how shitty their fucking all their jerseys are. There's one font I like on one of them, but other than that, it's just fucking awful. And to have the Vancouver one in their bag as an organization and to not like roll with that more is mind blowing. But I don't know. Like, I think the NBA is just behind, because it seems like to me like, you know, like the younger, you know, like the Tyrese Halliburtons and the whatever young players and stuff. I can only name 2 of them, but like Anthony Edwards, Scottie Barnes wearing the old Canucks jerseys, like those old things are like cool now. And the NBA is like, no, we're still doing our stupid like 2015 minimal design shit. Or the black and gold, which just, when was black and gold in? Like, in popular culture, when was black and gold? For like 2 years in 2009 when like Affliction and Christian Audige were hot. But like, I don't know, man. Like, they just have such an opportunity with the purple, in my opinion. And if I have like one regret, probably with this brand or whatever, is like not photoshopping the yellow headband purple and rolling with purple, just making purple the whole brand. Because like, yeah, I feel like the red, just like the red's cool, but it's just got overdone. Now the black and gold's getting overdone. The purple, it's right there. It's right fucking there. Like the purple chevron jerseys are starting to, like, those are growing on me now, just because they're fucking purple. I just think it's a huge miss. But quality experience. The fact that they didn't wear a Huskies throwback for the 75th anniversary game versus the Knicks a few years back was a travesty. I agree. I just think, like, me personally, and a lot of people online, I mean, not the Husky one, but like the older, like the Raptors, like the Raptor jersey is like the top selling jersey in all of Europe. I think I read somewhere. Like, if they want to expand globally, like that's just such a more appealing. Like, if you're gonna spend whatever $3,000 on a jersey, don't you want, like, I don't know. It's just my thoughts. Reebok needs to mount a comeback, Angelo. Fucking Reebok, man. I remember like everything soccer was Reebok in like the 2000s. And I'd always just be like slightly disappointed, you know. It wasn't that the quality was bad, it's just like, I don't know, it was just Reebok. And then when you got like something Nike or Adidas, but honestly, I like ever since this whole jersey thing, I'm an Adidas person. I'm a champion person now. I'm just like officially boycotting Nike for all these fucking awful jerseys. I don't want to. I think my shoes are Nikes though, but no, they're Jordans, not Nikes. Wide feet. I got the Lucas, and for someone with wider feet, so many basketball shoes are just like skinny as hell. If you got wide feet, the Luka, whatever they are, I think I have like the ones. Oh my, when I put them on in the store, I'm doing a commercial now for them, but fuck man, they feel like a glove. A fucking glove. If Vancouver got an expansion team, what would you want the name to be? The Grizzlies is so good because like we actually have Grizzlies here. Like I went on a hike once. I don't really tell that story. I don't know, man. I haven't really thought about that. I don't think Vancouver. I mean, the Raptors show asked Will about it, or I mean, wow, the Raptors show asked Will about it. They asked Adam Silver about it the other day. He shot it down pretty. I don't know. Like I grew up with the Grizzlies. I grew up like in the Vancouver Junior Grizzlies program. I like won the free throw competition in 1998, like at the stadium. Like that was my whole fucking life, was the Vancouver Grizzlies. Like from the moment they got here to the moment they left, went to so many games, like had my birthday. I had like multiple kids in my friend group would have our birthday parties at the Grizzlies games. Like we'd get the $13 tickets, the upper bowls, and we just have like 25 people there. Like that was my childhood. So yeah, to this day, like I can't even like watch the Memphis Grizzlies. Like it's just, to me, it's still like, ugh. But at the same time, like there just is a lack of basketball culture here in general. I mean, I've had some pushback on that when I've talked about it, but just like in general, just going around to courts and shooting and stuff, like it's very rare that there's ever anybody shooting. And it's good in a way because I like having the court to myself a lot. But I mean, people use basketball courts in Vancouver to do like Tai Chi and play cricket and have beer gardens and smoke weed and walk their dog, and it's not park their strollers for the soccer game and there'll be 900 kids playing soccer. It's just, I don't know. I don't really know, as someone who's lived here, and then you look at Seattle and it's just like, it's hard to describe, but like when you go to Seattle, it still feels like the Sonics are there. They just had such a presence in the NBA. Like there was such a, that one to me, like the Grizzlies and Sonics both got shadily stolen within 7 years of each other. And for people in Ontario, Vancouver, Seattle is closer than Kingston, Toronto. So imagine two teams that close together, both being fucking bamboozled in different ways, but still both bamboozled within a 7-year window is crazy. Like, yeah, especially the Seattle one. I mean, it's just disgusting. I always was into the Sonics. The last NBA game I've ever been to was 2008. It was Kevin Durant his rookie years. Kevin Durant versus Stephen Marbury. Love going to Key Arena, seeing the Sonics games. But yeah, during the pandemic, I just like watched so many old Sonics games. Like so many good playoff runs. They gave the Bulls arguably the most stress of any team in the finals. And if Gary Payton would have been guarding MJ sooner, if George Karl wasn't like, but that's such a fun team to watch. They got called for illegal defense every 3 minutes because they were like the first team to ever do like, because you couldn't used to play zone, but they would have all these weird ways where they would kind of play a zone and kind of hide it, but they'd always get like called for it, but were like cost of doing business. They shot tons of threes. They had Detlef Schrempf, who was 6'10", 6'11", who was gunning threes, which like never happened in the 90s. You have Lob City, like Peyton and Kemp, just insane dunks. They played with crazy pace, like such a fun team, such a historic team. And then in the 2000s, you've got Ray Allen, Rashard Lewis, Kevin Durant, and then go watch Sonic Skate. Anybody, go watch Sonic Skate and like fuck the NBA in a lot of ways. I don't know if I'd be able to do an interview with like Adam Silver or David Stern, RIP, I guess. I love basketball, but I hate the NBA. Okay. Happy mood. Really happy mood. I think that's going to do it. Black and gold can work as disco. Think Kiss t-shirt. Okay. Fair enough. What's your favorite Kiss song? Probably Strutter for me, but I'm not a big Kiss fan. Great movie. Not a great movie, but a fun movie. Used to watch it all the time in high school. Like, get the friends over. Maybe not a sleepover movie. More of like a come over after school and like smoke weed movie. But Detroit Rock City. Great film. Great film. The scene with the pizza on the side of the road, the mushroom, a lot of pizza scenes, the mushrooms and the pizza, just, those kids were our heroes in high school. We used to dress in jean jackets, leather jackets, grew the hair out. We all had fucking guitars and like, yeah, man, I should watch that tonight. Detroit Rock City. Go watch Detroit Rock City. Dead Left Shrimp, quality experience. The Flat Top, built for the modern NBA. 6'10" three-point gunner with a flat top. And when you're a kid, I don't know if anybody else is like this, but like he was Dead Left Shrimp to me. It was always shrimp. I had the bobblehead. I had so many bobbleheads. Fuck, man, I wish I still had those. I probably had like 20 bobbleheads as a kid. They used to come with like, you'd buy them, but then I feel like I also had some kind of like subscription to something with bobbleheads would come. I still got a bunch of my cards, thank God, but like, wish I still had some of that old shit. But yeah, definitely had the Dead Left Shrimp bobblehead. Shouts to Dead Left Shrimp. Fucking amazing. That's a good place to end it. Ended on Dead Left Shrimp. Go look up his highlights. Just go, if you're looking for, honestly, I'll end with this. If the Raptors are playing boring basketball for you, just go watch the 1996 Seattle Supersonics. They had a Game 7 against the Utah Jazz in the Western Conference Finals. They had an incredible series with the Bulls where you've got Bukowski and Rodman beefing the whole fucking time. You've got, just great stuff. The full games are on YouTube, but yeah, just the 96 Sonics, just such a fucking fun team to watch. Okay, that's random. Okay.